When we think of rock history, we usually think big. The Beatles, Zeppelin, the Stones, you know, the blokes on every t-shirt in Camden Market. But here's the thing, some of the biggest shifts in rock came from bands you've probably never heard on the radio, or maybe only once, late at night on a dodgy FM signal. These are the unsung trailblazers. No massive record sales, no stadium tours, just pure innovation, attitude, and enough nerve to bend rock in entirely new directions. So today, we're cranking the volume for 7 obscure classic rock bands that didn't top the charts, but changed rock forever. And trust me, without these lot, half your favorite bands might not even exist. Number 7, MC5. Alright, let's start with the loudest revolutionaries on the list. MC5 out of Detroit, Michigan. Formed in 1963, these lads were less peace and love and more kick out the jams.
The MC5 originally stood for the Motor City 5. One day we were just garage band, the next day we're on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
And that's not just a catchy line, it's literally the name of their 1969 debut live album. Recorded at a full tilt gig, it was raw, chaotic, and laced with political fury. Some record shops even refused to sell it because of the swearing, which of course only made it more legendary. They weren't chart toppers, they were ground shakers, mixing garage rock distortion with revolutionary messages. MC5 were proto-punk before the term even existed. Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine said they basically invented punk rock. And he should know, he's been throwing amplifiers at Injustice ever since. Without MC5, no Pistols, no Clash, and maybe no punk as we know it. Noisy? Yes. Important? Absolutely. Now for something completely bonkers. Captain Beefheart, aka Don Van Vliet, and his band of musical madmen.
Don is one of the most creative people I ever met. He was a total fountain of creativity.
Imagine if Howlin' Wolf joined a jazz band, got lost in a record shop, and recorded an album wearing a fish mask. That's Trout Mask Replica, 1969, produced by Frank Zappa, possibly the strangest rock album ever made.
I had this girl, friend to leave me all the time.
It sold terribly, but it blew musicians' minds. Beefheart mashed up blues, free jazz, and total chaos into music that sounded like a jigsaw puzzle thrown down the stairs. Critics now call it one of the most challenging recordings in the 20th century. A polite way of saying, what on earth is this? And yet, it opened doors. Suddenly, rock could be weird. It could be anything. Bands like Sonic Youth, The Flaming Lips, and even Radiohead owe him a nod. So hats off to Captain Beefheart, the man who proved that being a bit mad was sometimes just what rock needed. Now here's a band that proves talent doesn't always pay, at least not right away. Big Star out of Memphis had everything: gorgeous harmonies, jangly guitars, and 2 brilliant songwriters in Alex Chilton and Chris Bell.
When they showed up with the first songs for #1 record, they basically had the arrangements completely together the way they wanted to do them.
Their 1972 debut album, #1 record, should have been just that, #1. But poor distribution and bad luck meant hardly anyone heard it at the time. Wanted too much to say no. Still, those who did started bands. REM, The Replacements, Teenage Fan Club, all sang Big Star's praises. Their tunes, like 13 and In the Street, yes, that's the 70s show's theme, are now considered essentially power pop. In short, Big Star were the blueprint for every indie band that wanted melody with meaning. Commercial flop? Maybe, but in rock history, they're legends. Number 4, Love. Nobody cares for me. Not many bands are called Love and then write songs about heartbreak, war, and existential dread. But that's what made Arthur Lee's LA-based group so brilliant.
The origins of Love start at Dorsey High School in Los Angeles with two former Memphis transplants, that being Johnny Eccles and Arthur Lee.
Their 1967 album, Forever Changes, didn't storm the charts. It peaked at 154 in the US. But today, it's hailed as one of the greatest albums ever made. Why? Because it took the sunshine-soaked West Coast sound and gave it shadows. Tracks like Alone Again Or mixed mariachi horns with folk rock melancholy. Think The Byrds, but with a nervous breakdown. Lee's poetic lyrics and unconventional arrangements turn flower power into something deeper. Without Love, the psychedelic scene would have been all tie-dye and no substance. So yes, the name was Love, but the music? That was beautifully, heartbreakingly complex. If you ever wondered who turned garage rock into a demolition derby, look no further than the Sonics from Tacoma, Washington. Formed in 1960, they played like someone had set fire to the drum kit and dared them to keep going.
I'm gonna go find a group that's gonna blow you away.
Their songs, The Witch, Psycho, Strychnine, were loud, distorted, and wild. Mainstream success? Not really. Influence? Massive. Kurt Cobain and Jack White have cited them as inspirations. Why? Because they sounded like chaos in a leather jacket. In a world of polished pop, the Sonics were pure grit. Buzzed out guitars, shrieking vocals, and not a care in the world for what was radio friendly. They didn't just play garage rock, they burned the garage down. Number 2, the Stooges.
Well, it's the Scottish blood!
Ah, the Stooges, Iggy Pop shirtless, smeared in peanut butter, throwing himself into the crowd. Now that's rock and roll.
We were all pumped up. Iggy wanted to do something that was totally different.
Formed in 1967 in Michigan, the Stooges were loud, sloppy, and glorious. Their albums, especially Funhouse 1970, were commercial disasters, but their influence? Endless. Their primal riffs and nihilistic lyrics lit the fuse for punk. Bands like the Sex Pistols, Nirvana, and even the White Stripes owe a massive debt. Critics now call them seminal proto-punk, but back then, they were just too much, too raw, too dangerous, which is exactly why they're on the list. If MC5 were the punk philosophers, the Stooges were the sledgehammer. And Iggy? He's still out there, stage diving like it's 1972. Number 1, the Velvet Underground. And now, the band that launched 1,000 bands, even if they barely sold any records. The Velvet Underground, led by Lou Reed and John Cale, were the definition of cult.
We're sponsoring a new band. It's called the Velvet Underground, and we're trying to combine music and films all together.
Their 1967 debut, the one with Andy Warhol's Banana on the cover, underperformed in sales. But as Brian Eno famously said, everyone who bought one of those 30,000 copies started a band. They mixed gritty New York street life with avant-garde soundscapes, songs about heroin, kink, and urban decay. Radio stations ran the other way, but underground artists took notes. The Velvets invented art rock, post-punk, indie rock. Basically, they gave every misfit musician permission to get weird, dark, and brilliant. Without the Velvet Underground, you don't get Talking Heads, Joy Division, or even David Bowie as we know him. Their legacy isn't measured in chart numbers, it's measured in influence. And that influence is colossal. So there you have it, 7 bands that never cracked the top 10, but cracked open the very foundations of rock. They didn't care about trends, radio play, or record executives. They just made the music they wanted to hear, and in doing so, changed what music could be. Next time you hear a punk band or an indie anthem, tip your hat to these underground legends. Because behind every arena-filling giant, there's often a scrappy, underappreciated band that lit the match. And as always, keep it loud, keep it honest, and never forget, rock was built on rebels.